Om Pratismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhattarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः उकारो अन्धकारो वै उकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्या आचार्याय नचिकेतसे नमः. Namaste all of you. So, we are in the Kaṭha Upaniṣad, second chapter, second session, 13th verse. We already finished the 13th verse. Still, I will go through that and we will enter into the 14th verse and 15th verse today. Remember, Kaṭha Upaniṣad is one of the 10 major Upanishads for which Adi Shankara written the commentary. Commentary is a prose or a literature, so that a person who has a normal intellect in this world can easily grasp the meaning of Upanishadic verses. So Adi Shankaracharya written the commentary for the sake of humanity, so that they can understand the meaning of the verses as it is. For that, commentary is also being suggested in tradition while studying the Upanishads. We are also going along with the commentary. So, in Upanishads, the central theme will be Jiva Ishvara Ekatva Jnanam. Whatever is our intrinsic nature, knowing that one will attain the supreme reality. Jiva and Ishvara is one and the same from the standpoint of ultimate reality. From the empirical reality, in the Vyavaharika standpoint, we can see both are different in their actions, in their abilities. One is Sarvavyapi, one is Alpavyapi, one is Sarvajnaha, one is Alpajnaha, one is Sarvashaktiman, other is Jiva, myself or you, is Alpashaktiman. We are not all pervasive, but it's only in the empirical, Vyavaharika standpoint. But from the ultimate reality, from the Paramarthika standpoint, myself, what is considered as Jiva, is nothing but this supreme consciousness. Then Jiva Ishvara Ekatva Jnanam is the topic of each and every Upanishads. So, studying 100 Upanishads And studying one Upanishad will subserve one single thing. You will attain moksha if you study one Upanishad properly. Because one may think that, how can I study all these Upanishads in one life? Lord has given 60 years for me, or 70 years for me, or 80 years for me. But there are some other things to be done which are in front of me, like responsibilities of the household duties, certain kartavyas. In between, how can I go to Guru and study all these 100 Upanishad? Nothing to worry about that. If you can study one Upanishad properly, itself will serve your goal. So, among the Upanishads, this is the simple way of conveying the topic to another person. Kaṭha Upaniṣad have the faculty, Kaṭha Upaniṣad have the capacity to convey the message as it is in a simplest way. So, we are entering into the 14th verse. Before that, I will read the 13th verse once more so that we will get a continuity for the next verse. What is that verse? We have already studied. I will read that. Nityaha anityanam chetanaha chetananam ekaha bahunam yo vidhadati kaman tam atmastham yenanu pashyanti dhiraha tesham shantihi shashwati na itaresham. One who has the discrimination of what is the truth and what is mithya, satyam mithya jnana, or atma anatma vivekam, discrimination between what is the self and what are the non-selves. Atma anatma vivekam, self, non-self discrimination, or Brahman Maya discrimination. What is the base of entire creation? Brahman. What is the reality of the superimposed creation? Maya. Due to Maya, we see this creation is a truth or a real thing. Due to Maya, just because of Maya. So, one who has the faculty to discriminate what is satyam and mithya. That is what told here. Nityaha anityanam. Among all the impermanent things, one who has the capacity to see what is real in them. All these unreal things are centered on one real thing. Nityaha anityanam. We explained elaborately in the last class and also in the penultimate class. Chetanaha acetananam. Chetanaha chetananam. Chetanatvam means something which is sentient. Chaitanyavat bhadi. A human body which is sentient. Chaitanyam asti eva. A bird or a fish, a live fish, by whose presence this Chetanatvam is there for the human body, by whose presence a fish is active, by whose presence a bird can fly, by whose presence a dog can bark. Thus, one who discriminates the real thing from the unreal things. Chetanaha chetananam. Because of the electricity, a fan or an AC or a free fridge or a TV is capable of doing its job. Similarly, the entire creation is capable of doing its own duties because of the presence of Atma or the Brahman. Thus, Chetanaha Chetananam, discriminating the sentient thing from the insentient creation, Chetana. And that is Ekaha. It is one. No many gods for our culture. All these gods are superimposed to form on one reality. Ekaha Bahunam Yaha Vitatati Kaman. One who is capable of fulfilling all the desires according to one's own karma. One who deliver, one who distribute according to one's own karma. That Atman, that self is being told here. Tam Atmastam Yenanu Pashyandi, by the help or by the guidance of a traditional teacher, we call him Guru or we call her Guru. By the help of a Guru, a person can see the inner self or discriminate the inner self. Tam Atmastam Yenanu Pashyanti Dhira. That Atma is being accomplished by the discriminative people by the help of traditional teachers and also the Upanishads, what we call Shruti or Agama. Tam Atmastam Yena Anupashyandi, in according with the studies, in according with the teachings of traditional teachers and the Upanishads. Dhiraha. That person is called Dhira. Dhiraha. Dhi comes from the word Vivichya, who can discriminate. That person is called Dhiraha. What is right, what is wrong, what is virtue, what is vice. Similarly, what is truth, what is not real. This faculty, one who is having, is called Dhira. So Dhira will discriminate or can discriminate according to the teachings of Guru and the Upanishads. And these people are qualified to have permanent peace, permanent serenity in their life. All other people will have certain material comforts and certain temporary satisfaction. From a child, you will get a temporary satisfaction. From some money, you will get some temporary satisfaction. Eating some good food, you will get a temporary satisfaction. So, here it is told that Dhiraha, an intelligent one, will discriminate the real from the unreal things and they will attain permanent shanti. A job can give some money and you can attain some temporary shanti or temporary happiness. Our children can give some temporary happiness if they are in tune with our nature or our desires. Suppose the children are not in tune with our desires or ambitions, that children itself will become an object of worry and sorrows. So there is no guarantee in any of the material things which will assure us that permanent happiness. Only the Atman, one who discovers this in self, can only get the guarantee from the Upanishad that this last sentence is a guaranteed sentence. Tesham shantihi shashwati na itaresham. For them, shashwati shanti, one who is discriminate, one who can see the inner self, can get the permanent shanti in spite of all the material difficulties and sorrows. Na itaresham, not for the others, not for the ordinary people. This verse we elaborately discussed last two classes. Now we will enter into the verse which we have to study. It's a question. To Lord Death, it can be Nachiketas or it can be Shruti itself. We will see. I will read the verse first and I will give you the explanation according to Shankara's commentary. Tadedat iti manyante anirteshyam paramam sukham katham nu tat vijaniyam kimubhati vibhati va. Once more I will read. Tadedat iti manyante anirteshyam paramam sukham katham nu tat vijaniyam kimubhati vibhati va. Tad etat iti manyante. Manyante. They think. One who think according to the traditional teachings. What we think according to the traditional teachings. This is the self. What is that self? Which is free from name and form. Nama Rupa Rahita. This is the main teaching of the traditional teacher. Remember, the self, which is all pervasive, is free from name and form. By virtue of its subtleness, it is all pervasive. At the same time, it is not named form. And I am familiar with, to identify anything with a form. My mind can understand something. My mind is familiar with names and forms right from the childhood. So Nachiketas asked Lord Death. For the ordinary people, this question should be like this. Nachiketas asked for the ordinary people, How can I understand that this is Atman? This is the self. This is Brahman, which is Jagat Karanam, the cause of entire creation, the cause of entire Jagat. From elephant to ant, from the four-faced Brahmaji to a piece of grass. Brahma Keda Janani. From the Brahma to a small worm, all the entire creation came out of one particular truth, or the entire Jagat is a superimposition on a particular truth. And Upanishads explain this truth is devoid of name and form. Because names and forms are the two factors which help us to identify or to exclude a thing from a group. No other way. This is the prime factor. When I say matchbox, immediately in your mind, a picture of matchbox will appear. Thus, you identify with your voice which you listened. This is the particular thing. You don't imagine a deer. You don't imagine a glass of water. You don't imagine your brother. When I say matchbox, you only think about a particular thing, so that Name and form go together. Nitya Samavaya, Santata Sahajari, they are. In this world, when I say Devadattaha, a person's name, when I say this and you know who is Devadatta, immediately the person's personality, the form will enter into your mind. Not Yajnadatta's face or body, not a Shashidhara's body, not a Padmanabhan's body. When I say Devadatta, that name will attract only Devadatta's characteristics, his form, his appearance, his face, etc., etc. Do you understand why there is an importance in order to identify a particular thing? Names have a crucial role. When you say the name, it will attract the object which is directly connected to that name. When I say matchbox, you only think about matchbox. You don't think about a tiffin box carried with a boom. When I say matchbox, you will only think about matchbox. So names and forms go together. Santata Sahajari. Atyandam Samavedatvam. They go together. Now, something which is devoid of a form, there is a name. Brahman, the name is there. Omkaram, the name is there. Atma, a name is there. But there is no form. How can I identify that this is Brahman when there is no form in tune with the name? You say Atma. A traditional teacher say this is Atman. This is Brahman. This is the substratum of the creation. Here, three words are given in the Upanishads. Anirdeshyam Paramam Sukham. Atma being Anirdeshyam, Atma being Paramam Sukham. How can I realize, understand? Katham nu tat vijaniyam. How can I realize Tadeda Didi, that it is self, which is explained in a word called Anirdeshyam. What is Anirdeshyam? Cannot explain, indescribable. It cannot be described properly, which is devoid of a form. How can I understand in this world this is Brahman? Nachiketas asked a question to Lord Depth for the sake of humanity. It is not a question for the sake of Nachiketas. Coming generation, in any teachings, you will get a group of disciples. This group of disciples will be classified into three standpoints. Manda, Madhyama, Uttama, Adhikarina. There are Manda Adhikaris. Disciples can be classified into three groups. Manda Adhikari. Manda Adhikari means due to the darkness inside the brain, Ajnana Timiram being there, heavy mass darkness. Even if you say 100 times towards that person, he may not capable to get the point. Mantha Adhikari. It's all in the hands of God. He may be looking with big eyes. He may be itching his head. He may be shaking the head, but inside it's all shallow. Nothing goes inside. Manda Adhikari. Because this person is lacking from certain sadhanas, disciplines. When you are prepared, the readiness counts. If the disciple is ready to receive the knowledge, it's a cakewalk. Upanishad is a cakewalk. When you are not ready to listen due to the laxity of certain disciplines and certain sadhanas, the purification is not completely there inside the heart, then traditional teacher can say 1,000 times, still the person cannot grasp. These people are called Manda Adhikari. Everywhere this Manda Adhikari will be there. Next is Madhyama Adhikari. Madhyama Adhikari is a person who can grasp what is told by the traditional guru, who can understand what is told by the traditional guru. If he repeats 5 or 6 times the same matter, subject matter, with some examples, in different way, if he put effort to make him understand, slowly he will grasp the situation or the point. They are called Madhyama Adhikari. Next is Uttama Adhikari. A person grasps the entire thing at once when the Guru utters a thing. Immediately after the explanation of Guru, there itself he will get all the points and he will grasp. This is called Uttama Adhikari. Manda, Madhyama, Uttama Adhikari. So, 3 classes of people being there everywhere. Nachiketas want to include every people, every human being should study Vedanta and should understand the reality of a human body. What is the substratum of the creation by whom everything gets shining? So he asked a question to Lord Death. For the time being, take it like this. Even though Nachiketas has grasped the content of his body, what is the substratum of this creation? For the sake of the entire humanity, he asks a question. In this verse, the question is like this. People may realize this is the thing, and they think, which is told Anardeshyam, can't explain because there is no form or name. There is no form. Name, we have certain names in our Upanishad. Omkaram, Brahman, Atma, let it be. But how can I realize? How can I identify which is not connected with the words, which is unspeakable, which cannot be perceived by the human senses? So, How can I can grasp the idea, I can understand the nature of the human body, which is anardeshya, which is indescribable, which is which cannot be explained. Remember, if you say something I understood, mind itself is a limited instrument. If you grasp something with the mind, it means that a limited thing. This is a limited thing. In this world, mind can only grasp certain things which are limited. Small, small things, not the biggest. Mind is a subtle body. It is also limited. It don't have the capacity to grasp something all-pervasive. We are familiar to grasp small and limited things in this world. Here it is told that, how can I understand with my mind? This is the question, which is anardeshyam, which cannot be explained properly. There are a lot of words pointing this. Avyaktoyam avikaryoyam uchyate in Bhagavad Gita. Every word in Upanishads you will see, it cannot be imagined by our human mind. Anardeshyam, aprameyam, lot of words. Any form or anything other than me in an object, I can grasp. But something which is not having a form, how can I grasp? So here it is told, which is anardeshyam, which cannot be grasped by the mind. Without the word, one cannot explain properly. And which is also having the nature of paramam sukham, infinite happiness. Paramam, ultimate, which is also called supreme, the highest goal, paramam. Sukham means infinite happiness, not the material happiness. Material happiness means when you get a good food, when your tongue is connected with the good food, you get certain happiness. That's called material happiness. When you meet somebody who is connected with you, when you have a desire to do certain things and you fulfill that, to buy a car, to buy a bike, you fulfilled that desire, you get some happiness. It's a material happiness. Here it's not talking about a happiness which starts at one point of time and it will end in another point of time. We are not talking about that. We are talking about something infinite, anantamanandam, nityanandam, sukham, which is anantam, infinite happiness. There is only one thing which is the origination, which is the place of origination of happiness. That is Atma, myself, which is the place of origination of the entire happiness. So here it is told, Tat edat iti manyante. It is thought, it is believed, which is anirdeshyam, which is not explained by words or speech, which cannot be explained by words or speech. Paramam, which is the ultimate, Sukham, which is the unlimited, which is the source of unlimited happiness. Katham na vijaniyam, how can I understand this? How can I realize that? Katham na vijaniyam. Kimu bhati vibhadiva. Whether it's shine individually or whether it depends somebody for its shining. That means, is it free? Is it independent from everything? Or is it depending upon something? Vibhadiva bhadiva. That means whether this truth is independent, it has the capacity to create the entire Jagat, it has the capacity to run the whole drama, it has the capacity to hold everything. Whether it is lending the satta, lending the energy from somebody else, bhadiva vibhadiva. Whether it shines distinctly or does it not. Thus, Swami says here. So, here in the Bhashya, I will read something very interesting. Nivarta yeshanaha ye brahmanaha te yed tadedad pratyaksham eva iti manyante. People who has done lot of sadhanas, nivarta yeshanaha, who is free from all kinds of material pressure inside their mind. They are not behind any material pressures. For them, they think that it is pratyaksham. They can directly perceive this Parabrahman. Of course, an ignorant also having the idea of Brahman. An intelligent also having the idea of Brahman. The difference is, everybody knows I am existing, but the ignorant says I am this body. But the intelligence says I am free from the body. I am distinct from the body. By studying the Shruti, the traditional teachings from a traditional teacher, they come to know the reality so that they are free. Understand? So here it is told, Tat Sukham Vijaniya. How these Brahmanaha, these people really believe that they can directly perceive this Brahman. Then, Katham nu kena prakarena tat sukham aham vijaniyam. How can I understand this infinite happiness, which is the source, which being the source, what we call Brahman? How can I understand that? Idam idi atma buddhi vishayam abadeyam yada nivarta yeshanaha yatayaha. How can they understand properly about this thing which is free from form? They directly perceive this, which is anirteshyam, cannot be explained by speeches, cannot be explained by speech or word. By uttering mere words, we cannot make them explain. Still, they believe it is pratyaksham. They can understand it. Remember, whether you are intelligent or ignorant, if somebody asks you, are you exist in this world? We say that I exist. That itself is a proof that you are knowing your existence. I am self-evident to me. I don't depend on my eyes. I don't depend on my nose. I don't depend on my ears. I don't depend on my mouth. for knowing my existence. I am self-evident. Swa-samvedyam in Sanskrit. My self-evidence itself is a proof that Atma is known to me. If you ask to a fool, an ignorant, do you exist in this world? They say, I exist, I am here. That itself proves that Atma is self-evident to everybody. Only thing is that they misidentify themselves that I am this body. There is a confusion regarding the existence of Atman. Atman is taken as this body. So, the ignorant also having the idea about the self-evidence, still they think that I am this body. But the wise, the intelligent one, will know that I exist not in the form of a human body, but I exist in the form of consciousness. That is why Nivritta Yeshanaha, free from all kinds of material pressures, Putreshana, Vidyeshana, Lokeshana, free from going to the world, etc. There is no pressure of going to heaven. Vidyeshana, there is no pressure to achieve a lot of money while living in this world. Lokeshana, Putreshana, Putreshana, not having the pressure to have a material pleasure-based life, wife, kids, children, different material pleasures. After giving up, and they cleared the field and they focus on one single goal. I should get liberated. For that, there is no connection with to have a marriage. There is no connection with the children. My liberation, my freedom is not connected with the bondages which I create in this world in the form of dharma, responsibilities, kartavyam to be done. There is no connection with the goal. These responsibility, these values have connection in purification of mind. Thus, they have indirect connection with my freedom, but they are not directly connected to my freedom. In order to get the freedom, I should know who am I. I am self-evident, but the point is whether I am body or not. I know myself without the help of somebody around me. If somebody asked me, are you exist here? Yes, I say. That self-evidence is important, that Atma is independent from everything. So here the question is like that, Katham nu tat vijaniyam. How can I understand that I am self-evident to me, which is Amritam Abhayam, which is immortal, which is free from all kinds of defects and limitations. So there will be total security, Abhayam. So for an ordinary person, how can he understand that Atma is self-evident or Atma is depending on somebody for its existence? Kimubadi vibhadiva. Does it shine distinctly or does it not? Here, Shankara asked this question like this. Kimu tad badi dipyade pragashatmaham tat yataha asmat buddhi gocharatvena vibhadi vispashtam drishyade kimva na iti. Is it possible to grasp by our intellect, which is self-evident, or is it not possible to grasp by our intellect? which is self-evident. Is it possible to understand with our buddhi? This is what Shankara asked. In the tradition, there is no swallowing of any sentences taught by Guruji. If I say something, you need not to swallow anything. Blind belief is not a good idea. Somebody tells you and you swallow it. That's not a good idea. In social media also, we end up in tragedies because we forward some messages which are fake. We share certain pictures and messages which are fake. Like this, all our entire discrimination should be based upon logic. Shruti Sammata Tarka. Logic based on Shruti sentences, not the logic which you collected from the empirical world. I will talk about that later. But logic is important to understand certain things. That is why Shruti, Yukti, Anubhavam. These three factors are concerned to understand an idea. Shruti, whether it is told in the Upanishads. Shruti. Yukti. What is Yukti? Logic. Whatever told in the Upanishad, it should be logically fit in our mind. I can grasp it properly. For example, if Shruti says Antarctica is burning, Antarctica is having forest fire. Suppose Shruti says like that. We know that Antarctica doesn't have any forest and there is no fire at all. It's all ice mountains, frozen area. So I need not to go along with the Shruti sentences. Even Lord Krishna says to Arjuna after giving the advice, Itite jnanamakhyadam guhyad guhyataram maya vimarsha etat asheshena yatha ichchasi tata kuru. I have given the entire Shastra to you. It doesn't mean that you have to swallow the entire thing without asking question towards me or inside. Vimarsha, with a mind to criticize what I have told. For the sake of clarity and understanding, you please try to understand the whole idea. Vimarsha etat asheshena. Then after that, if you feel it is comfortable, what I have told to you is 100% correct, then you can go along with that. If you feel it is uncomfortable, it is fake or it is not truth, then you can drop what I have told in Bhagavad Gita. Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. What you want to do, you can do. Yatha ichchasi. What you feel to do, you can do that. This is the beauty of our tradition. Traditional teachers don't compel you to do this thing, that thing. You can live a life after listening this Vedanta. You are free to have your own lifestyle. Whether you are a grihastha, whether you want to continue as a girlfriend with somebody, whether you want to continue as a boyfriend with somebody, whether you have certain business from abroad, you do whatever you want, which will be in tune with the dharma. There is no compulsion to choose a lifestyle. Whatever role you take in your life doesn't matter when it comes to the reality. If you come to know, you have an easy way to understand what is told in the Upanishad. Your comfort to listen the classes and you can do your own things which are not against dharma or creation. Because Upanishad never suggest anything to do against dharma or against creation. Keeping in the mind that everything is one and the same thing called Brahman, which will be always in tune with the creation. Fine. So here the question is like this. Tatat etat iti manyante. People in this world who are nivritta eshanaha, free from all kinds of material desires, brahmanaha, they consider manyante that this is Brahman. What is Brahman? Anardeshyam, which is not have the capacity to explain through words or speech. Anardeshyam, that which is free from form. How can I give a word to that formless Brahman? And also, which is the ultimate goal of human being, Paramam Sukham, which is the origination of infinite happiness. How can I realize that Brahman, which is considered by the discriminative people, Brahmanaha, that which is not explained by speech or words, which is the ultimate destination of a human being, which is the source of eternal happiness? How can I understand that whether it is depending on something for its existence or whether it is independent? This was the question asked by Nachiketas for the sake of humanity to Lord Death. Then we go to the next verse, which will be the answer for this question. I will read that verse and I'll give you the explanation. Very famous verse, which is often chanted in each and every Hindu temple when you do this arati, aratana with a lamb towards deity. Natatra suryo bhatina chandra tarakam nema vidyudo bhanti kutoya magnihi tame babantamanupadi sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamitam vibhati. I will read once more. Natatra suryo bhatina chandra tarakam nema vidyudo bhanti kutoya magnihi tameva bhantamanupadi sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamitam vibhati. First, I will give a base to understand this verse. By the presence of somebody, everything is active. When this thing is absent, all other things cannot be active. We have listened these sentences in our world. So last words ask about a logic to understand for the human mind. Here, a logic is presented to understand the whole idea. That how can we understand for our human mind? The entire creation is active due to somebody's presence. The entire creation is capable of doing certain different things according to one's own nature for different animals, for different birds, solar system, sun, and stars, etc., etc. They do their own duties because of the presence of somebody. When a king is seated in his throne, the entire kingdom will be active in their own duties. The minister will read all the programs, what we have to do today towards the king. The army will be practicing how to confront with an enemy. The person who is taking care of the cattle will involve in his own work. The elephants who are taken care of by somebody will be properly taken care. There will be horses, and these horses will be taken care of by somebody. It will be going on. All the servants will involve in their own duties. How it happens when the king is more powerful and he is seated, and when he order, and when he realize who is doing what, everything will do properly without having any minute mistake. They do their thing 100% proper. That is why Earth goes around the sun in 365 and a quarter day. There is no less, there is no more. It will be 365 and a quarter. It itself get a rotation for 24 hours. There is no 23 hours, there is no 25 hours. It's a rule. It's a law. Each and every living being will follow the rules and regulation by whose presence. Thus, you please understand there is somebody to rule this whole universe. It is not that guarding with a stick. No, that is something slavery. This is not been mentioned here. Because of the presence of Brahman, each and everything in the creation involved in their own duties. Brahman make them to enter into their own duties properly. Because of the Brahman's standpoint, everything will get active. Natatra Suryo Bhatina Chandra Tarakam. Surya, sun will not shine if he is not there. Natatra Suryo Bhati. Sun will not shine if he is not present. If he is not present there. You can take he, she, it, whatever it may be. Gender doesn't matter. For the sake of understanding, I say he or she. When the Brahman is not there, sun cannot shine. Why? Sun is lending its satta from Brahman. Because of the presence of the Brahman, sun has its own way of shining. Bhadina Chandra Tarakam. Because of his presence, because of the Brahman's presence, each and every stars and moon have its own capacity. We know that moon has the capacity to make us cool. That is why lunar eclipse is a big issue for the people who are weakened with their mind. They feel very uncomfortable, which is connected with the moon. Anyway, it's samsaritvam. That's all empirical feelings. I want to come to the point. Na Chandra Tarakam. Chandra means moon. Tarakam means stars. A moon, our moon, cannot do its duties if there is no Brahman. The stars shines in its own way because of the presence of all-pervading Brahman. What to talk about the lightning and the thunder? Sun and moon and stars cannot work by the presence without the presence of Brahman. What to talk about the lightning and thunder, even about Agni, the fire? Fire has its characteristics due to the presence of Brahman in it. Fire can only make us burn when the Brahman is there. Without the Brahman, there is no fire at all. There is no lightning, there is no thunder. Tameva Bantam Anubhadi Sarvam. He shines first. From this shining, all other things shine second. lending the shining from him, others will also shine. Tameva Bantam Anubadi Sarvam. After his existence, all other things exist in this world. For a superimposition, there should be an object which should be evident to me. All these sun, moon, stars, etc., all are just superimposition. In order to have a superimposition, there should be a base for the superimposition which is evident to me. Thus, because of the presence of the Brahman, all these things have its own way of shining in this world. Sun, moon, stars, lightning, fire, etc., etc. Tameva Bantam Anubadi Sarvam. Because of his shining, all other things also get shining. All these things shine. Lending the satta from this, lending the shining from them. You know, like a reflector in the road. Reflector doesn't have the capacity to throw the light by itself. Reflectors take the lights from the secondary thing and they throw light towards everywhere. Reflectors are fake. We know that. The word itself shows that it's a reflection of something. In reality, reflectors cannot produce any light. But they can reflect the lights. They will take the light from the secondary thing, whether it is a vehicle, whether it is a thunder, whether it is whatever it may be. Then they shine. Similarly, in this world, because of the all-pervading Brahman, which is the root cause of this entire creation, because of its presence, the entire creation, extend these capacities to your body. You can breathe because of the presence of Brahman. You can see because of the presence of Brahma. Yeshaha Akshini Purushaha. In other Upanishad, it says, because of the presence of somebody in the eyes. In Dakshinamurti Stotram, there is a beautiful Nana Chitra Katastitamaha Deepa Prabhavaswaram Jnanam Yasya Duchachuradi Karanadvara Bahispandade. A lamp which is kept inside a pot and having 5 holes in the pot. Through this hole, the light comes out. The light comes out. Similarly, inside the body, outside the body, the consciousness remains. And through these holes like eyes, ears, tongue, nose, etc., this sentience comes out. Because of its sentience, body seems to be sentient. That is what being told here. Because of the Supreme God, all the presence of the Supreme God, everything will be shining. There is no independent reality for body or sun or stars. Tasya bhasa, because of his shining, everything will get shining. Taking the shining from him. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhadi. In Bhashya, Shankara gives an example of firebrand. He says, Yatha Jalolmugadi Agni Samyogat Agrim Dahandam Anudahadi Na Swatahat Tadvad Taseva Bhasa Ditya Sarvavidam Suryadi Vibhati. Because of the fire, everything gets shining, even the firebrand. We will keep this example aside of Shankara. Very famous example. We have a hot coffee in a glass. The glass is very hot. From where this hot comes to the glass, the coffee got the hot, or it becomes more hot from the fire. Fire given the hot to the coffee, and coffee given the hotness to the fire, to the glass. Similarly, body is inert, stars are inert, sun is inert, moon is inert. Because of the presence of Brahman, everything shines here. Everything. Because of his presence, all the things become sentient. This is how we should understand. No need to be insecure with the body. Body is already inert. Body is already insentient. May you understand the sentient one which is indwelling inside the body. This is the real nature of a human being. For that, a logical presentation is given for that question. Tasya bhasa sarvamitam vibhati. Because of his presence, because of his shining first, all other things shines secondly, lending his satta from them, lending the shining from this base, lending the shining from this Brahman. This is the last verse in the second section of second chapter. Iti Kaṭha Upaniṣadi, in this Kaṭha Upanishad, Dvidiya Adhyaye, in the second chapter, Dvidiya Valli Parisamapta, the second section also concluded. We will go further to the third section of the second chapter in the next class. Om Swastik Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyah Tvisasya Shalini Deshoyam Kshobarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbayah Sarve Bhavantu Suginaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om